Hey guys, and welcome back to the Volt Grooming channel, the very first video of the new year. Hopefully you had a great New Year's. I know we all did. And today we're going to be talking about something pretty special, very close to my heart, and that is how you can keep with your New Year's resolutions or better achieve any goals that you set for yourself for this year. Now, whether or not you believe in New Year's resolutions, I know some people don't. Just consider these some general tips for how you can just become a better, more improved person throughout the year and with a higher likelihood of achieving any goals that you would like to achieve, whether you set them as a resolution or if you set them last year or anything like that. Remember, setting goals and trying to improve yourself is important. It's one of our most basic instincts as people. We always want more. We always want to achieve more. We always want to be more. And so with these 5 tips that I'm going to tell you guys about today, you can achieve more than you ever thought possible this year just by shifting your mindset a little bit and getting some perspective on what it means to have goals and to achieve them. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so the first tip is going to sound a little bit counterproductive to what you're probably expecting, and it's this. Stop focusing on your goals and start focusing on the process. A lot of people's goals are kind of outlandish and not very specific. They'll say something like, oh, I want to have this many more friends this year. Well, sure, that's a goal, but the problem is you're not focusing on the skills that you need to achieve that goal. By having that goal constantly in your head, you'll still be questioning what you even need to do in the first place to achieve it. And so my first tip is simply to stop focusing on the goal itself and instead start focusing on improving the process. For example, if you would like to make more friends this year, you need to focus not only on making more friends, but you need to focus on becoming more social. You need to focus on becoming more vulnerable and owning your own flaws. You need to focus on overcoming the fear of approaching people. These are all skills that will ultimately lead you to that goal, which you may not have even thought about if you focused on the goal itself. So think of it this way. The process can always be improved at any time of the year. The goal cannot always be achieved at any point. And so it's kind of harmful to focus on goals, especially if you weigh your success as a person or your value as a person only on the goal which you have not yet achieved. Which brings me to my next point, which is this. Be realistic. Don't be unrealistic with your goals. Be reasonable about it. If you started a business and you haven't made more than $100 in a year, you're not going to build a billion-dollar company in 1 year. It's just not going to happen. Otherwise, your expectations are essentially setting you up for failure. Which brings me to tip number 3 for achieving your goals, which is very similar to tip number 1, but not completely. It's still important to mention, and that is this. Prepare for the difficulties you're going to face and not for the results you will achieve. Most people prepare for the results of the goal, the happiness and fulfillment they'll receive from having more friends or from making $1 billion. And this kind of happiness and fulfillment feels great to think about, but if you're not actually achieving it by facing the difficulties you need to face to get there, and ultimately you're going to look back at that goal and think of yourself as a failure. And so you need to proactively think out and search out the problems that you're going to face so you can prepare for them and so you'll know how to deal with them now instead of later when it feels like life is kicking you down, because that is just what happens sometimes. In other words, do your research, prepare for the issues so that when those issues do arise, you can just knock them out of the park. All right, here's tip number 4. Avoid motivation and stick with habits. Now you may be thinking, oh, well, what's the problem with motivation? Don't get me wrong, motivation is great for getting the ball rolling, but motivation ends quickly, especially in the face of adversity. How many people do you know set a great exercise habit? They'll go every day to the gym in January, even if they've never gone to the gym before, only to stop immediately in February when it gets a little bit harder to do so. It's a little bit hard to wake up early. It's a little bit harder to actually get up and go to the gym. Your motivation will fade, especially when the problems that you don't expect start arising, and they will. But what you need to do is instead set actionable habits that you can repeat over time. And so when something does become a habit, it's so much easier to overcome the resistance that comes with adversity or the issues that you face instead of relying solely on motivation for the initial push and then nothing afterwards. That's why it's important to set reasonable goals and reasonable habits. If you've never gone to the gym before, don't go every day. It's going to burn you out. But if instead you set a habit that you know you can achieve, let's say you want to go to the gym starting with 2 days a week, and then later on on, when you're used to that and it's a habit of going to the gym, getting over that kind of anxiety that you may face when you go to the gym for the first time, then you can go for 3 days a week and then maybe 4 days a week, and you'll be able to up it a little bit every time from there once it has become a habit. All right, and my last and final tip for you guys is that if something fails, let's say you don't reach that goal, let's say you accidentally break the habit you were proud of for a long time, then try and try again. It's not change that we should be afraid of. It's staying in the same place that we should be afraid of. I am much more unhappy staying the same day to day with the same old routine and not doing anything different than I am with trying something new, going out there and trying something again, using my shift in perspective or whatever lessons I learned from any of my failures to try something another time. Failure is only true failure when you decide to give up, when you decide you have failed. Otherwise, it becomes a lesson, and you will succeed eventually. So this was just a really quick, really straightforward kind of video for you guys this new year. And hopefully these tips have kind of shifted your perspective on what you need to do. Maybe you've been focusing too much on the goals you want to achieve, and maybe you need to start thinking instead about the things you do to achieve those goals. See, it's not what you want, it's what you do that matters, because what you do is going to affect where you end up. Either way, I hope this was just a little bit of motivation for you guys this new year, and we've got some awesome new stuff coming. So if you guys haven't already, subscribe to the Volt channel, hit the like button, and smash the bell icon so you'll be notified every time we post another cool video. We've got tons of stuff coming out, and we've also got a bunch of exciting new updates that are coming out this year for Volt, and we can't wait to tell you about them. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.